What is up, guys? Welcome back to the Technical Foul Podcast. You're here with me, Jack Anderson, and to my right, there is JP Pusilowski,
What's up, guys?
and to my left, there is Sanders Oakley.
What's up?
On the itinerary for today, we have just kind of our normal stuff. We're going to do Cock of the Walk, Winner, Winner, Chicken Dinner, Question of the Week. Besides that, the biggest thing is we're going to pick our MLB division winners as the season starts tomorrow. It is Wednesday. We got time, boys. 2:16.
I forgot to put
2:16.
my things up.
Your things?
Yeah,
Oh,
the
his
things in
desk
my backpack.
decoration. You can do it live. It's fine. No, don't.
Are you fine with me doing it live?
You can do it live,
Do it
yeah.
live.
I'll
Yeah.
do it live.
This
We're
is
gonna
Sorry,
fix our
guys.
stage real quick.
little behind the scenes look.
Well, is that? Yeah, I mean, nothing too crazy for the show.
I didn't know he was gonna walk in front of the camera. That's
What else was he gonna do? He didn't have options. While we're waiting for JP to finish that, Sanders, anything going on?
No, we were just talking. We got a big intramural softball game tonight.
We do.
We need to get decoration for the set. We need one of our jerseys. We have jerseys for our softball team. We need one of those and like a jersey.
Y'all seen me?
frame.
I wore it in the inaugural
You did.
episode of the
I almost
podcast.
wore mine today. I have mine. I can change it. No, I'm kidding.
No,
on camera.
not changing on cam. Okay,
Much better.
I love the Tyler Matzek bobblehead. That's
Thank you. I
fire.
needed that.
He's a Braves hero for what he did in the NLCS game.
Yes, very true.
Game 6,
I mean,
struck out. Was it?
3 in a row.
But it was it. No, it was Steven Souza, Pujols, Betts was the order.
Yeah.
Just said I'm better than
He
y'all,
threw 3 straight fastballs to Mookie Betts.
and said you cannot hit them.
Have y'all
did.
seen
And it was
that Mookie
electric.
Betts is like unwell right now?
Yeah, he's lost like a ton of weight, and they
like
don't know
20
what's wrong.
pounds,
It's
and
been like 2 weeks.
It's yeah.
Cancer.
That would be crazy.
I mean, that's my guess.
That would probably be what it takes for the Dodgers not to win the World Series this year.
I don't think it's going to matter.
Well, I was going to say a couple different people to
Okay,
get
yeah.
mysteriously ill.
That's fair. That's fair.
Maybe Shohei Ohtani, a Freddie Freeman.
Man,
I
I
mean-
can't wait till I don't pick the Dodgers to win the West. You'll see.
We'll get
Find
there in a
out later.
second.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm really excited for the show. I'm a huge baseball fan, probably the biggest baseball fan out of the three. Grew up going to a ton of Texas A&M games, some Houston Astros games. I'm a Braves fan. I don't know if y'all can see my shirt. It's pretty faded, but it's a Christian Pache Brave shirt. He was on the Braves for like 2 years and never panned out. But that's how you know. I'm pretty invested. I follow along pretty closely. Sanders, we got a lame Padres fan here because he decided to be different, even though he's in Braves country. And literally, you had a perfect excuse to choose an elite team.
I couldn't. Okay, when you pick, I'm of the opinion that when you pick a team for the first time, if you know they're good, it's hard for me to pick a team that's good.
But that's the exception. Like you're in Mississippi. You live in Mississippi, have lived in Mississippi your whole life.
Yeah, we
There's a
had the
double A
Mississippi
team in
Braves,
Jackson,
yeah.
not anymore.
it's just like, I mean, I did the same thing for MLS. Like, I picked a pretty, I think they were bum when I picked them. The Galaxy, they were bum when I picked them.
Okay, well the Galaxy are pretty good.
Yes.
I don't think they've ever been a bum either.
Yeah, you maybe caught them in a down season.
I think I caught them in a down season. Like,
But-
yeah. Anyway, so I just am of the opinion that you have to kind of pick an average to below average team. At least I try to, because I feel like more fun.
Okay.
I disagree. I think you should just pick something with your heart and then just
Yeah.
run with it.
Which I did.
Okay.
I picked the Padres with my
Okay.
heart.
Because you like Fernando Tatis.
Yeah, don't
I
pick,
do.
don't. I mean, even you want to pick the best team.
I had no emotional attachment to the Braves, and so I was like, I'm not gonna. If I have zero emotional attachment to them, I'm just not gonna pick them.
But you could have been a fan of the team that all your friends are fans of, and that makes rooting for it so much more fun and easier. You
But
lived with like
also-
James.
We did beat y'all my first year. No, we didn't. I think we did. We played.
Wins y'all's last
No,
World
y'all
Series
lost to
ring.
the Dodgers. Y'all lost to the Dodgers.
Yeah.
And we were gonna play y'all, and then we lost to the Dodgers. So I was rooting for y'all over the Dodgers, so we could play y'all in the National League division.
We will play each other on opening day, and then they played each other in the
Whoa,
wild,
I
wild
thought
card
opening day
series.
already happened.
We don't count that. We do not count the Tokyo
Yeah.
series.
They'll
That's
play
2
each
games.
other, or they played each other in the wild card last season.
Yeah, y'all won.
No,
Y'all did.
yeah,
That's
we were
right.
depleted by injuries.
Yeah,
Hammered by injuries. And once again, wins y'all's last World Series ring.
never. We've also only been around for like 25 years.
Sure.
I'm of the opinion just pick a team with your heart and then stick with that team.
I guess
I picked the Saints when I was like 6 or 7 years old because they were good that season, and then they happened to win the Super Bowl that season.
yeah.
And so that affirmed my pick of the Saints, and then I've been a Saints fan my entire life.
Can I take back my claim? I think I agree with you. I just think that my heart wasn't in the Braves, which
Okay.
is why I tended towards picking a, I guess, worse team.
That's fine.
All right.
Well, with that being said, I think we can go ahead and roll into it. We'll start in the AL, do the 3 AL divisions, and then go over to the NL, do the 3 NL divisions. I don't. We didn't discuss this, but I think we choose our World Series winner.
Oh,
Sure.
So on the
Okay,
spot.
let's pick an AL winner and then.
Yep, I agree. Pennant winners, and then who's going to win the World Series out of those.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to start in the AL East. Sanders, what's your vibes here?
yeah. So, well, my notes are closed, but basically, I was just looking at last season. So, last season, coming into this season, I feel like the Yankees just continue to get older. So, the Yankees won last season, but with Judge and Stanton being probably, I mean, they're 2 best outfielders, 2 of their better hitters. I am concerned with kind of how old they're getting, especially Stanton. He struggled with injury for years, and then Judge was out for part of last year after running into that wall. I do not think that they're going to win it again this year. Instead, I'm going to lean towards the Orioles. So the Orioles were 3 games behind first place last year with a very young roster. I kind of am hoping and betting on guys like Gunnar Henderson, Jackson Holliday, and Jordan Westberg to mature and continue to develop. They're all still in their early 20s. Holliday's 21. Henderson is also down there. So if those guys continue to mature, I'm going to lean towards the Orioles over the Yankees.
Sure. They're all like kind of clones of each other too. It's like the Orioles
is
have a
really
type. It's
weird.
like if they were a girl, it's like they like the good looking, blonde flowy hair under the ball cap. It works. I do agree the Yankees have gotten a little older. They did sign Max Fried in the offseason, which is a huge pickup. He's a dog. Braves are gonna miss him. Garrett Cole is out for Tommy John surgery. That's a huge blow. I'm pretty sure Stanton can't swing a bat right now because both his elbows hurt really bad. So he's kind of cooked. If Garrett Cole didn't go down to injury, Tommy John's, I probably would have picked the Yankees to win the division. But I really do feel like it's a 3-horse race: Red Sox, Yankees, Orioles. I went with the Red Sox. I agree with a lot of what you said about the Orioles. Lost Corbin Burns, their ace, and did not replace him. They sat on their hands this offseason, basically. Didn't really make any signings, and that worries me. I don't know how good their pitching staff is going to be. Their offense kind of fell off to end last season. So I do kind of feel like this is going to be another mediocre to good season for the Orioles. They'll spend next offseason, maybe trade away some of their young guys. We'll roll into 2026 and be like, these are the guys to watch out in the AL East. I went with the Red Sox.
Are we already doing 2026 predictions? Is that the next show?
It is the next show. Yeah, I went with the Red Sox. I got Garrett Crochet from the White Sox, who's a dog. Really put together last year. Had a 3.58 ERA, 12.9 K per 9, 2.69 FIP. So peripherals look good.
What is
Fielding
there are a
independent,
lot- okay.
fielding independent pitching, basically meaning it only looks at the outcomes the pitchers truly control, which is walks, strikeouts, home runs.
Okay, cool. There's a lot of baseball acronyms that, as
Sure.
we talk about baseball, are probably going to need to be explained for me and like 98% of our listeners.
So is FIP better than WHIP?
What is WHIP?
WHIP is walks plus hits per innings pitched. So it's the amount of walks and hits you give up in an inning.
Okay.
You want that to be around 1, realistically.
Yeah.
I mean, some of it does depend on if you're a starter or reliever. Starters' numbers are just naturally going to be a little higher.
And the higher your WHIP, the higher your ERA, just because you're going to be letting more guys on base.
In theory, yes. It's a good indicator that if you have a high WHIP and a low ERA, you're probably getting a little lucky. You're skirting around damage, and it may
Yeah.
catch up to you.
Yeah.
Anyway, they got him, Alex Bregman. They signed him, which I think is a huge pickup. I think he hit with the Crawford boxes a lot, similar with the Green Monster. It's going to play well there. Didn't have the best year last year, but I think that this could kind of revitalize him. Kind of a wake-up call. It's interesting he's going to play second base because Rafael Devers said he's not giving up third base, despite him being a terrible defender at third base, so that makes no sense.
Yeah.
Walker Buehler got him on a prove-it deal. Had a 5+ ERA last year, but hasn't really pitched much in the past 3 years, including last year. When he's been healthy, he's been great. We'll see if he can be healthy. And then added a role as Chapman in the bullpen. Plus, they already have guys. I mean, Rafael Devers on the squad. Tanner Houck is a great starting pitcher. Can Trevor Story bounce back from just being injured? Can he produce it all? Jaron Duran, extra base hit machine. I think they have a really good squad. Like I said, I think this is going to be a very close division and one of the more fun ones to watch. but I like the Red Sox to come out.
Yeah, Red Sox should be a decent team. A lot of people are projecting them to potentially have 3 Gold Glovers out in the outfield. My only worry with the Red Sox is, I think they're going to be a little bit too young in some positions.
Sure.
I think it's projected that 3 of their top prospects are likely going to play at some point this season, and I think that may be end up being a problem for them. I went with the Orioles as well. They're the third or tied for second favorite with the Red Sox at plus 250. The Yankees are the favorite, but because the biggest sport books in the world are in New York, all the New York fans are betting on the Yankees so that they
Sure.
can just waste money. So that's why you see the Yankees as his favorite if you look at Vegas odds. But realistically, the Red Sox are the favorite among experts, and the Orioles come in second. The biggest storyline, like Jack said, is going to be starting pitching for the Orioles. They essentially did nothing to address it this offseason.
Kind of crazy.
They brought in Charlie Morton from the Braves, and Tomoyuki Sugano, who pitched 12 years in the MPB, are the 2 guys that brought in for starting pitching.
A good old 35-year-old rookie.
Yeah, 35-year-old rookie and a 41-year-old Charlie Morton, who's honestly, we were very grateful that he still, denied father time while he was still with the Braves. We'll see if that continues. But yeah, their biggest question is going to be starting pitching. Their offense is going to be good with their young talent, and their defense is still going to be good. Adley Rutschman is a great defender. Jackson Holliday, a great defender. The question's going to be their pitching. Is it going to be good enough to match up with the offense? We saw that with state baseball the prior 2 years, where not last year, but the year prior to that, where pitching was just atrocious. But we were scoring a ton of runs, but we couldn't win games because we were giving up more than we would score. I think that could be a similar problem with the Orioles this season. The Yankees are going to be hurt. They're going to be less powerful. No Juan Soto. Garrett Cole out is massive for them. Saying Judge getting old coming off the best statistical season offensively ever is kind of insane.
He went nuts.
And winning the AL MVP. So I don't know about that take, but I do agree with the rest of the team that that's a fine take.
Was it better than his home run record season?
It was. His home run record season, I mean, it was another great season, but it really was kind of carried.
And we'll talk about him
boosted
later in the show. If not for that, Bobby Witt would have won AL MVP last year.
Yeah.
Bobby Witt had an insane year, but Judge statistically was just off the charts. So I don't see a drop-off for him. He's too good of a hitter, and he's clearly shown throughout the regular seasons that he can be extremely successful. So I think Judge will play well, but the Yankees less so.
It's a lot.
My pick is the Orioles.
It'd be a lot for Aaron Judge to carry. And you talked about some young guys for the Red Sox. The Yankees would need some younger guys to step up too. Volpe in his second season as their shortstop. Will we finally see Jason Dominguez this year, the Martian, kind of their highly touted prospect, what seems like for 5 years now? Can he actually do something? I think this is probably the second most intriguing division to me. The other being the NL East, which we'll get to later.
Okay.
I'm not saying it's the second best.
I also disagree.
But I guess we'll get there. Y'all can air your grievances when we get to the divisions y'all think are more intriguing than this one. We can go and move on to the AL Central, unless y'all have any other thoughts about the AL East.
Good with me.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I can kick this one off. I think it's kind of a man. This one's also interesting. We have kind of Cleveland, the perennial, always make the playoffs, never really seem to have a great team, never really spend, but then you find yourself and it's September, and yet again they've won the division, and they're playing postseason baseball. The Twins are kind of a little bit more of the big spenders. Haven't really managed to stay healthy. Correa has been a bit of a disappointment since they've signed him. Injuries have hurt him. Royce Lewis can't stay healthy. Guys like that. So I definitely think the Twins are more talented than Cleveland. It's just can they put it together? And then you have the young darlings, the Royals and the Tigers, who kind of burst onto the scene last year. The Tigers got really hot down the stretch, were a ton of fun. Mm-hmm. The Royals have, as you mentioned, Bobby Witt, who's a great player, a ton of fun to watch.
Yeah, and they were hot during the season, and then they went cold down
Yeah.
the stretch.
Personally, I don't think the Royals and Tigers are quite there yet. I think it may be another year for them. Not in the sense of like I talked for the Orioles, where the Orioles need another year, because I think the Orioles are going to make a wild card spot. I think the Royals and Tigers will have kind of another, around 500 season, let guys get a year older and mature, and then go from there. In terms of the Orioles, I don't think they have enough to help Bobby Witt. And I don't really know if the Tigers have enough hitting either, as good as a couple of their frontline starters are. Having said, I'll go into my pick. I have Cleveland. For no other reason other than, like I said, they always do it. I don't really trust the Twins to stay healthy. I mean, if you look at Cleveland's offseason moves, I kind of try to put a couple of their bigger ones in here. They signed John Means to a prove-it deal, who has made 10 starts in the last 3 years. When he pitched for the Orioles, he was good, but obviously it's been multiple years now. Cleveland is like a pitching factory, so if anyone can get him turned around, get him healthy, get him pitching good again, it's there. And then they re-signed Shane Bieber. Similar thing. He wasn't as good as he was previously last year. Can he turn around and kind of reach that ace status again? I mean, you have Jose Ramirez on kind of leading the hitting core. Besides that, he's the only really great hitter on the team. You have guys like Steven Kwan, who's gets on base, slap singles, low power guy. Kyle Manzardo, can he kind of take another step? I don't know. This is probably one of the weaker divisions, at least in terms of top-heavy talent. There's just no, like, actual dog in this division, but someone has to win it, so I went with Cleveland. I don't know what y'all's thoughts are. Sorry, I kind of rambled a bit.
Yeah, I can go next. So I did not go with Cleveland. I went with, once again, I guess a younger team. I don't know why I said that. I don't think they're younger, but whatever. Detroit Tigers. This is actually, younger brother. I went for this for my younger brother, who's a huge Tigers fan. I think we've talked about this in the past.
We have, because he loves Tariq Skubal.
Yes. So he's picked Kentucky. When he was little, he just started picking teams with blue teams with cats. Detroit Lions fan, Detroit Tigers fan, Kentucky fan, and it does not make sense. We don't know where it came from, but since he could talk, he's been cheering for blue cat teams. So this is kind of a shout out to him, but also returning the AL Cy Young Tariq Skubal I think is huge. They also had only one off-season loss. It was a pitcher, and they kind of turned around and acquired 6 pitchers in free agency. One of them was Tommy Kahnle,
I believe.
ERA 2.1 last season. So I think that's going to be, if you add those 6 guys to a staff that already has Skubal, I think that could be a really good pitching staff. And then it also is, like I talked about with the Orioles, relies on some development of guys like Spencer Torkelson, who is a former number 1 overall pick, and then their number 1 prospect right now is Jackson Jobe. So if they can put all that together, I think that they can be on top of. This is actually what I had as my closest division, just kind of going off last year. Last year there were 4 teams that finished between 82 and 92 wins.
Sure.
It was the closest division last year, and I'm kind of just, I guess when I say closest, I'm looking at that going forward as well.
Yeah, maybe I said closest, but I thought I said intriguing.
Maybe you did.
Because
You said intriguing.
Okay.
While I agree this division is going to be really close, and I could see, I had stated my reservations about the Royals and the Tigers, just because it's a long season to get carried through by youth, which scares me. Teams have done it before. Think about the 2018 Braves. But none of these teams really I could see winning the World Series, which is why I'm this could be a really fun, close regular season race. Come postseason time, I don't really know if I'm going to care about any of these teams. Where with the AL East, I'm hey, if one of those 3 teams really puts it together, we could find them in the ALCS just like that and winning it and being in the World Series.
Yeah, that's fair.
But I do like the Tigers. I have here, FanDuel has their over-under at 83.5 wins. So right around 500, what I think is fair. They have Royals at 82.5. The Guardians at 82.5. And I'm trying to find the Twins, which it's not going too well for me here currently in that regard.
So that was 3 teams within
84.5, they have the
wins.
Twins. So they're all right
4
there.
teams within 3 wins of each other.
Yeah. So, JP, what are we thinking?
I went with the Kansas City Royals. They're right now the They're at plus 300, so 3-1. They're the fourth favorite, but like we saw with the win total, everyone's bunched up between plus 200 and plus 300 to win the division. So it really is kind of anyone's division. Besides the White Sox, they suck.
Not them.
They suck.
You're going to need to beat up on them while you can if you're one of the other teams in the division.
Yeah.
It is crazy that in an era of baseball where we have the A's who don't sign anyone to a deal longer than a year and are moving and everyone is mad at them, the A's still aren't the worst team in baseball.
By far.
Like, that's kind of impressive. I'm not going to lie.
The A's actually did spend a little money this offseason because the owners basically threatened to make their owner sell the team if he didn't start spending more.
Yeah, I saw this on a TikTok or an Instagram. I saw that it was like a bunch of guys who don't really impact the team. It was just like, I don't know, I guess.
You're disrespecting former Bulldog legend Brent Rooker.
That's actually insane.
But
he ended up there? Wait.
Yeah, he's there and he's raking.
He was already there. Yeah. I was about to
But
say.
they signed him to extension and they added a pitcher. I'm just saying they have good talent and they have spent on it. That's the crazy thing about the Athletics is they actually can develop talent decently well and they draft decently well. They just never keep any of it and they don't even try to keep any of it is the issue.
Yeah.
The White Sox are just squandering talent. I mean, it felt like 3 years ago, it was like, man, they have Eloy Jimenez, Yohan Moncada, a bunch of other guys coming up, Luis Robert, and it just...
They steal the show in the Field of Dreams game.
Yep. And it just all falls apart just
Yeah.
like that, and they're terrible again. So, I don't know. But it is, you would hope that you could be better than the Athletics, I guess, because you can't give them even Oakland anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
But, yeah.
Anyway, back to my pick.
Sorry.
No, we're all good. That was a good tangent. I went with the Royals. Their biggest storyline, like I said earlier, is can they avoid the September slump? They were first in the AL Central going into the month of September, and then they lost 7 games in a row, and they barely snuck into the wild card. My big reason for picking them is their big offseason move, which on paper isn't a big offseason move, but they signed Jonathan India.
You think it's going to work out?
I think it's a move that's going to help them play baseball better.
Okay.
India had the 7th best walk rate in the NL last season. And so I think, if they put him in the leadoff, that puts a guy on base, and base runners are going to be huge for guys like Bobby Witt,
Sure.
Hunter Renfroe to hit, gives him RBIs. To
Another
the team.
former Mississippi State legend.
Sure.
Yes, very true. But yeah, the AL Central is going to be a lot like the NL Central, except this division has the White Sox, so 4 teams instead of 5. And this was a team that was on top of the division before an awful September. And I think, with the move of India, they've improved the roster. The big thing for them is Bobby Witt. If he stays healthy, he can take them really anywhere they want to go. He, like I said, should have won the MVP, if not for Aaron Judge's insane season last year. So I think Witt's going to carry him. And while it's a tall task, I think he's going to carry them very well and win the division for the Royals.
Makes sense. I'm always a little hesitant about one player carrying in baseball. It's not like a basketball or anything like that, but it can happen. I'm a little worried Jonathan India is coming from a very hitter-friendly park where the Reds play to Kauffman, which is notoriously pitcher-friendly, so I'm interested to see how that impacts his numbers. Walk rate, obviously, doesn't factor into that because you can walk anywhere the same in theory. But, yeah, I mean, all fair picks. Should be a closer division. I don't know. I'm just ready for baseball to get started doing this, to be honest. It should be a lot of fun. All right, AL West. What do
I can lead it off.
All right, yeah.
Lead it off yet.
Let's do it.
I picked the Seattle Mariners to win the division.
Okay.
Wow.
A trendy pick. Not a trendy pick, but I guess a not trendy pick.
They're a well-liked team, I would say, in the baseball community with how bad they've historically been and stuff, and some of the players they have. But I don't think odds makers and stuff are necessarily the biggest fan.
Yeah, they're third to win the AL West. They're really actually right behind the Rangers and Astros. They're at plus 225. Astros plus 140, Rangers plus 200. So it seems they're either Vegas likes them or the people like them, and they're a trendy pick to win the division from gamblers, which, of course, gamblers know everything about the sport and always are correct. So
That's why gamblers win more money than Vegas.
Exactly. That was me until the March Madness underdog controversy. So I'm
It
unfortunately
was
not
all a
one of
scam.
not one of those gamblers.
You were
anymore.
making too much money, and Vegas came to get you.
I was only up $300, and now I'm down $300. So
That's a tough swing.
Yeah.
That's
that's across 4 years of gambling, semi-professionally in college. But yeah, I'm going with the Mariners. The biggest storyline is going to be Julio Rodriguez, the star. Historically, he's been really bad in March, April, and May. His OPS numbers are just down dramatically compared to what he can do later on in the season. So they've specifically paired him with, in their opinion, a good hitting coach, and they hope that he can have a better March and April. He's kind of similar to Bobby Witt. If he goes, the team goes, offensively at least.
Sure.
And I think if he can have a good start to the season, the Mariners could be a team that could lead this division from the start all the way to the end, with the Astros and Rangers. The why they should win this division, they have the best rotation in the league outside the Dodgers. All 5 of their starters are projected to rank inside the top 21 for
Insane.
the AL Cy Young, which is really insane. And, when you have 5 guys that are that talented in a season, you need, unless there's extra innings, you need 4,374 outs. And so if you have 5 guys that can get you big numbers outs-wise and make a lot of starts and throw a lot of innings, it can really carry you through a season. Pitching is is, in my opinion, the most important thing in baseball. If you've got the pitchers, you can win the game, and you can win titles. I think historically that has been proven. So I'm going with the Mariners strictly based off, best rotation outside the Dodgers. And they expect Julio Rodriguez to have a good March, April, and May. So give me the Mariners to win the division.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and go next. I also have the Mariners for the same reasons that you said mostly. I mean, the rotation is ridiculous. I mean, all 5 guys had an ERA under 3.7 last year, and a couple of them were under 3. Bryce Miller, former Aggie legend, has turned up. Logan Gilbert, Brian Wu, George Kirby, Luis Castillo, all dogs. They only won 85 games last year, despite having that staff, because their offense was so bad.
Mm-hmm.
And I really hope that they would do something.
Bottom 5 in the league.
Yeah, I really hope that they would do something to address it in the offseason. And they addressed it by adding Donovan Solano, who is about a league average bat. They don't want to spend money. Is basically what it comes down to right now. They don't want to increase payroll. So it really is Julio Rodriguez. Victor Robles, when he post joining the team last season, because he didn't start the season with them, was great. He's not necessarily been like that his whole career. So is that, is he going to regress back to mean, or is he going to did he actually take a legit step and is going to move forward? That would be huge. They just announced to sign their catcher Cal Raleigh to an extension. He had a 119 OPS plus last season. They just really don't have very many offensive pieces. But if they could just do a little bit offensively, even just be slightly below average offensively, I think they could win this division just because how great their starters are. It's ridiculous. Sanders?
Yeah, I went with what I thought was a pretty boring pick, and now I'm in the minority. So I picked the Astros. I didn't watch a lot of baseball growing up, and my first memory of Major League Baseball is the 2017 World Series. And since then, they have been the most annoying team in baseball because I feel like they've been so good for the last 8 years, led by Jose Altuve. It's just been insane. They're the model of consistency. They've just been, it feels like dominant to me, but also I've keep up with baseball very little. They've won 2 World Series in 8 years. I feel like that's pretty impressive. It is a little concerning. I've been watching, so I saw a highlight of Jose Altuve in left field, which full confession, I know not to believe every highlight you see. I tweeted something about Angels play that I got outed because it was from 2019.
Very tough for you.
Someone retweeted it, and I should have checked the date. And I
took the bait.
Yeah, I got baited. I got bad.
Season hadn't even started yet.
I thought it might have been spring training. That's on me.
I guess that's fair.
That's on me. I saw it. I thought spring training. What are the Angels doing? I retweeted it or commented, and Jack outed me. He goes, "Dude, this is from 2019." And I was like, "Oh, well." Anyway, so that being said, I don't know, what to do with the highlight of Jose Altuve missing 2 fly balls in 2 days in left field. I don't know exactly why they're moving him. I've seen reports that it's because his defense at second base is not good.
but here is not like second base is a premium defensive position.
Yeah.
So I don't really understand why moving a bad. If he was like a bad fielder at shortstop, yeah, I'd obviously rather have the bad fielder in left field, and there's probably hope he can figure it out with the reps. But I don't know. It's just like if he's just gonna play underwhelming defense at second, that's fine, and we can just put someone else in left, as opposed to putting someone at second, and letting him play underwhelming defense in left.
Why is the second base defense so different from? I feel like they're just the same, just opposite, mirrored of each other.
Oh, whoa, no, definitely not.
Okay, I mean,
From the shortstop position, one, you have a longer throw.
okay,
Typically, you've got because the third baseman has to cover the line, you have a longer range you have
you
to
have
cover.
more to cover for sure.
does the first baseman have to do the same for the right field line?
But see, you're just expecting righties to pull the ball.
Yeah.
So
And you're going to see more righties in lineup than lefties.
correct.
Okay.
So not so much.
Significantly more. And the first baseman really only has to cover the line, or only is on the line when a guy is
The
on
owner
first.
first, yeah.
So typically that's like the only time second base is really challenged is when a guy's on first.
Okay.
But also like with the shift, when you have the left-handed pull hitter come up, now the shift has been banned, but in that case,
You can
the second baseman was covered, and they're playing deep into or in the short field, and so they're kind of like tasked a little less, and that shortstop has moved over, and he's covering realistically more ground.
Mm-hmm.
But it's less ground to cover, much shorter throw to first.
Is it not? But is there some benefit to the fact that the majority of the shortstop's moves are going to take him towards first, whereas I feel like a lot of the seconds could take it. Like if the second baseman's moving to his right, he's got a weird angle to get the throw off.
Maybe a little bit, but
Whereas
you're
that
but it's.
shortstop
I don't
is
think that
charging.
throw is more difficult than
I'm not saying it's more difficult. I'm just like,
or even close to as difficult as the Jeter throw where you
yeah, that's fair.
Agreed.
that kind of throw. And the longest throw you're ever going to make at second base is when you come over to second for the double play.
Okay.
obviously
this is the kind of breakdown we expect on baseball from the show. Like I said, I have watched probably, besides the summer where I got MLB TV to watch every Padres game because I was bored, I've watched probably like 20 baseball games.
yeah.
MLB baseball games.
Obviously you would prefer to have a good defender at second base. You'd
Yeah.
prefer to have a good defender everywhere, but
Right.
it's just not one of the most premium positions. So sorry that went through the mic. I didn't get out of the way in time. I'll let you continue. Sorry for interrupting.
Oh, yeah. So I think that was kind of the end of it. I'm interested to see what happens there. We talked a little bit about, I mean, it's kind of sucks because Altuve is a very good hitter, but they already have Yordan Alvarez, who's a very good hitter in the DH. So just trying to figure out where they're going to put him. I just kind of picked the Astros because they've been consistent for the last 8 years of my life, and I don't really expect that to change.
I think, I mean, they should be the favorites. They've reserved that right. But the loss of Alex Bregman and specifically Kyle Tucker
Kyle Tucker's huge.
are gonna, I think, hurt them in a big way. They were kind of a strength in numbers team for many years. They were just good 1 through 6, 1 through 7. I mean, Kyle Tucker was batting 6th and 7th for these kinds of lineups, and that's just insane. You don't get that very often. I think those losses are going to be big for them.
A younger pitching staff too. A lot of unknowns, and they're another team kind of like the Indians, where they typically figure it out. You kind of trust them to.
Yeah, I don't think it's a bad pick though, Sanders.
No, it's not. What I have written down on my notes is the Astros window is closing, which is why I didn't pick them. I think their days of being a powerhouse are kind of over.
Yeah.
I could see this year being kind of a one last hurrah.
Yeah, and I'm not picking them to win the World Series or anything.
Sure. Yeah. And then talking about the Rangers, because I think, they're the other team that the Athletics aren't going to win this division, and the Angels aren't going to win this
Correct.
division. So it's kind of a 3-team race.
The Rangers were in the lead for this division at some point last season, right?
See, I thought they started slow
I mean,
post winning the
were-
World Series.
Yeah, they were slow post winning the World
The
Series.
classic
It
World
was 2
Series
years
hangover.
ago. I get all my seasons.
2 years
mixed up.
ago, they won the World Series.
Yeah. That's what it was.
Which is important in the sport of
Yes.
baseball.
Yeah.
Probably the most important thing you could do. Some would argue.
All right, let's not go that. I'm more of a fan of the Josh Pate approach, where the whole season matters. It's not.
All right.
I completely disagree.
We'll talk about that later in our question of the week.
Rangers very talented lineup. They can rake. Pitching health has been an issue. Jacob deGrom has not really been healthy since being there. guys like that. Something I wanted to point out that this was kind of cool is Leader and Kumar Rocker have both made the opening day rotation,
Really?
which is kind of cool. Yeah,
That's awesome.
back to the Vandy days. We'll see how that pans out because neither of them have really proven it
That
at the
Kumar
major league
Rocker
level.
story, do you remember what all went down?
When he got drafted and then
Yeah.
his arm was cooked.
But he wouldn't like undergo medical testing,
Yeah.
and so like he didn't. I don't even think he signed his rookie deal.
No, he didn't.
It was just wild. I don't know who handled that poorly, but I think someone handled something poorly.
I would
And it
argue
almost
he
cooked
did,
his
or his
career.
agent. Yeah, because exactly, it almost cooked his career.
Glad
But
he made it back.
yeah, we'll see. I don't hate the Astros pick Sanders. I have a soft spot for the Mariners. I have a Mariners shirt somewhere. I don't know if you've ever seen me wear it. Mitch Haniger's on the back because he's my dog. They sadly released him this week. He can't ever stay healthy. He only has one testicle because it got burst because he got hit by a pitch, which sounds terrible. But shout out Mitch Haniger and shout out the Mariners. I hope y'all win a World Series at some point. If y'all want a good 3 hours to spend, watch the Secret Base video on the history of the Seattle Mariners, and you can just have great laughs about the comedy of errors that is their franchise. It's pretty miserable. It's kind of like the Cavs pre-LeBron type beat, or even early LeBron. NL, we ready to move to the NL?
Let's do it.
Cool. We'll start with the NL East. I'll kick it off. I have the Braves.
Wow.
I was going to pick the Braves probably regardless because I'm a Braves fan. Their over-under at wins right now is 93.5. They went 89-73 last year with a slew of injuries. They're projected 93 wins on Fangraphs. Off-season moves, they really didn't do a ton, to be honest, in terms of additions. They signed Jurickson Profar, which is big.
That is huge.
He had a
Former
career.
Padre.
Yep, former Padre. He had a career year last year, 134 OPS plus, so well above average hitter. A great hitter at his position. Some worries if he can repeat that or not, because that's easily his best season, and he's older. It's not like
It's an outlier.
Yeah, we'll see. The Braves typically are good on signings and additions. Making the right moves and then panning out. Think Chris Sale last year. Personally, I didn't know that was going to work out like that. I'm glad it did. But they did lose a couple guys. They lost Max Fried, which is huge. Charlie Morton, they lost him. A great innings eater is going to stay healthy. Going to give you a chance to win every fifth day. They lost A.J. Minter out of the bullpen, former Aggie legend. Going to miss him. But I don't know. It's like you're going to get Acuna and Strider back at some point from injury. They missed most of last year. Sean Murphy's hurt right now, but Drake Baldwin, I think, can kind of fill those shoes till Sean Murphy comes back. Got to think Olsen rebounds a little bit from a bit of a down year. Same with Austin Riley.
Mm-hmm.
Same with Ozzie Albies. The team was just so banged up last year that if they can just find something, I mean, I just think we're going to remember how good the Braves really are. Starting pitching, I mean, you have Chris Sale just won the Cy Young. Schwellenbach has shown flashes of really being something special in his rookie season last year. Ronaldo Lopez had a good last year. You're going to add Strider back on top of that, which is great, assuming he can stay healthy. I don't really feel like there's a question with Strider, honestly, about if he's healthy, he's going to be elite.
Yeah.
It's just going to be a health thing. Phillies and Mets are great. They're really, really good teams. I think they're both projected to win around 90 games too. But I just have the Braves
The
here.
Mets are up there at 90.
Yeah, I mean, they got Juan Soto in the offseason, which is
I forgot about
massive.
That. Yeah, that's
Their pitching staff is very questionable. The Mets is. The Phillies have a great rotation. But it was just kind of like I was sitting there. I was like, this is a close race, and I'm a Braves fan, so I'm going to pick the Braves.
Can I go next? Because
Yeah, go ahead.
JP's going to have more, and because y'all are both big Braves fans, I don't want to be left with nothing to talk about. I already kind of am, because the injuries is like the big part for me.
Sure,
I mean, that's all everyone's talking about.
Yeah,
It's not like
they don't really need to make free agency additions, because kind of coming back from injury are their additions.
Yeah, you just had to trust guys in house, and they did make a couple of depth signings like Nick Allen, a defensive shortstop, a couple pitchers and outfielders. They signed Alex Verdugo recently, because last year they really didn't have great depth, and I don't know if anyone besides the Dodgers really would have survived that level of injuries.
Yeah.
But the Braves especially did not set themselves up for that well, so I do think they tried to help that a little bit this year with some more depth signings and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think it's going to end up being a thing where if they're healthy, I mean, their best guys are some of the best in the country. So that's got what it's going to come down to.
Well, so okay.
What? Go ahead.
You should say best in the league because there is a team that doesn't
Oh,
play in
you're
this
right.
country.
I'm used to college sports where you can just say the country and it covers
Yeah.
everything.
Don't
league.
disrespect the
I
Toronto.
mean, realistically, they are the best in the country
They
and
are.
the best in the league,
This is true.
but the league is more all-encompassing.
I do have to be more as I talk about professional sports. I need to switch that wire of saying like best in the league as opposed to best in the country because it's not the same as talking about college sports.
Sure.
Depends on the sport.
I mean, yeah. I mean,
NFL, you're good.
yeah, but it
For
still
now.
feels weird to for now. Anyway, they are their best guys with Acuna and Strider, two of the best in the league at their position when healthy. So, I mean, you got former MVP and also, like you said, you just had a Cy Young winner. So, if you've got a pitching staff with him and Strider both healthy, I think it's going to be a very good team, and I'm going to pick them to win the East over the Phillies. And where the Mets last year, they're the team that they went huge in the offseason, and it didn't work out, and ended up just trading away everything right before the deadline.
2 off seasons ago, they did that.
Yeah.
Okay, with Verlander.
I mean, they were
and-
in the NLCS.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then last year, they didn't spend as much, weren't great to start the season, then got really hot.
They have that guy Nemo.
Brandon Nimmo.
Nemo.
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 How is this? Is it Ni or
It's Nimmo.
okay?
But yeah.
Nemo.
Yeah, Nemo. Finding Nemo.
I'm fine with that.
It's kind of funny.
That is fire. I wish my last name was Nemo. That'd be kind of sick.
Sanders Nemo doesn't work with
No.
Sanders.
I
Unfortunately.
like
work.
it. I like that. Okay, well, that's cool. Y'all can hate. I'm changing my.
I'm gonna hate. JP, what do you got? I'm assuming you have the Braves as well, or did you?
I have the Bravos
Okay.
as well. Yeah, Strider is supposed to return by the end of April. Acuna by the end of May. Obviously, Jurgensen Profar addition was pretty big. They should win the division because, I mean, they were tied for Major League lead in ERA with the Mariners last season. Their pitching was very, very good, and that was a huge reason they were able to continue to win games when you have Strider was hurt, Acuna was hurt, Albie was hurt for an extended period, Riley was hurt for an extended period. They were kind of just decimated. But this is a really tough division with the win totals, with the Phillies and the Mets. The Phillies are the defending champions, so they, in my opinion, have the right to be favored to defend the crown, although Vegas has us favored.
I think that's fair. I really don't think that last year is a fair measurement of both teams.
Sure.
Phillies and Mets are both right at 90.5 over under.
It really is a shame that these three teams, only one of them gets to win the division, and the other two have to go play in the wild card
Sure.
series. And I think at some point we'll talk about that. But yeah, the structure of the postseason doesn't help this kind of division where you have
Yeah.
three powerhouses like this.
Yeah.
I wish that they just left it alone. Personally, it was like back to old school.
Agreed.
Less teams got in. I just kind of made it feel really special to make it, and that's kind of gone now.
Yes.
I guess I'm a boomer. I don't know.
But yeah, I'm gonna go with the Bravos as well. Excited to attend some games this season.
Cool.
Truist Park's a great place, and the Battery's really cool too. Maybe Lucy said she wants to go to a game this season, so we may make that happen. All right, NL Central, another kind of weaker division. I don't really know if there's an elite team in this division or a great team in this division, but there's multiple options who could win it. Sanders, you want to?
Yeah, so I'm going to lead it off. I'm going to pick the Brewers. Last year, they had the most dominant division win last year, 10 games. They won the Central bye. They did that without NL MVP, Golden Glove winner Christian Yelich, and then All-Star Brandon Woodruff. And those guys are both coming back.
Sure.
Also traded Corbin Burns midseason.
Yes.
Crazy.
So they were missing some pieces last year and still had the most dominant division win. And I would say, I mean, the Central, NL Central is not a great division. Nothing like the East. But I don't think anyone made the moves necessary to close that gap. So I kind of expect back-to-backs from the Brewers.
Okay. I disagree in that I think the Cubs closed the gap. I think Kyle Tucker is a huge pickup. He's one of the best hitters in baseball. Can be kind of the true leader for that team. Their over-under for the Cubs, that is at 85.5. I don't really – they didn't – but outside of Kyle Tucker, they didn't make any other crazy additions. They got Ryan Presley for the bullpen. It's just going to be adding Kyle Tucker to the group of guys like Pete Crow Armstrong, Dansby Swanson, Ian Happ. You got Justin Steele and Shota Imanaga. headlining the rotation. So I don't really know if I love this pick. My younger brother Creed is a Cubs fan, so shout out Creed.
How did he end up a Cubs fan? I mean, I can't judge. I have a younger brother.
The world will never know. But
It's
he
just
said
a younger
I
brother
have to
thing.
pick the Cubs. But I love Kyle Tucker, and I think that's a huge get.
Yes.
And it probably will come down to the Brewers and Cubs. In my opinion, I just have the Cubs.
I'm gonna pick the Pirates.
That's the
almost-
worst take. That's
I
the
almost
worst
did that
take.
just to rage bait.
That is rage bait. But continue.
Yeah, obviously biggest storyline Paul Skeens. They're plus 800, so 8-1. I think if Skeens wasn't dating Livy Dunn, the Pirates would have a lot of value to win the NL Central. I think this could be like plus 1,000. I really think that she has moved the line that much.
That is
for the
insane.
NL Central.
We have
And
a
you think that's just
conspiracy
from like
theorist
fan
here.
perspective, right?
From a fan, well, I mean that's a
Fans are betting on the Pirates, and
Correct.
that's moved the line. Okay,
big.
that's a valid.
Skeens is gonna have, Skeens is gonna have a very big expectations to live up to. He's already one of the overwhelming favorites to win the NL Cy Young. Obviously, he's a big fastball slider guy, but this offseason he added 2 pitches. He's adding a cutter and a sinker, and that's a big thing for a guy who's. We saw this with Spencer Strider. You can throw the velo all you want, then pair it with the slider, but to have long success that continues, you're going to need other pitches to strike out other guys. And Skeens is adding those early rather than later. I think that's going to benefit him well and should help his sophomore slump. Their biggest offseason moves were bringing back Andrew McCutchen,
Yep.
who was on the cover of MLB The Show 13. So obviously he's still really good in 2025, of course, naturally. But one of their big additions, Tommy Pham, in my opinion, another extremely old guy, but he hit 248 on almost 500 plate appearances last season across 4 different teams. So this is a guy that can still hit at that age.
I'm calling 248 still hidden.
I'm kind of a Jack on
With
this.
the change of the baseball and becoming a dead baseball, I think 248 is a very respectful.
Yeah, what are you hitting, Jack?
Respectable number.
I'm not hitting anything.
I don't know what the
undefined.
major league average was last season, but I know that a lot of Braves hitters were below 248 batting average wise. That was across 4 different teams, and almost 500 plate appearances. So he wasn't like he was not playing. In fact, he was basically playing in every single game. But
Yeah, I mean, he had an OPS under 700. It was down last year. I kind of feel like this is a gut pick from you. You're just throwing a dart at the dartboard and hoping it works out.
Wait
'cause-
till you see my NL West pick. It's going to be crazy. But
Okay.
Same.
the NL Central is crazy. This is the only division with 5 teams with 8 to 1 or lower odds to win the division. And I think we saw this. We thought we were going to see this last year with the Reds being good, with Ellie De La Cruz and that being such a big story. But I think this is the year that we'll actually see the crazy. And give me the Pirates.
Did you see the breaking
win the
news
division.
that Paul Skeens is starting opening day?
Yes.
Wow, that's shocking.
Huge news.
That was so funny that they did a whole TikTok about it, and it was like, Paul, you've earned it. It's like, yeah, no, duh. He's one of the best pitchers in the MLB right now. Of course,
I
he's
think
gonna start opening day.
I think a big thing for the Pirates though this year is I think they've re-engaged the fan base and picked.
If they spent any sort of money in the offseason, I think they would have. But I think fans are just about as out as soon as they were in.
Paul Skeens has re-engaged the fan base,
Okay.
not the organization. And the Pittsburgh has an amazing ballpark.
It's beautiful.
So I think if you can get the fans, I think that's a big advantage for teams like the Dodgers, who just have overwhelming attendance. The Braves have overwhelming attendance. It really makes these Tuesday, Wednesday games a big home field advantage for these teams, and I think it helps a ton. So I'm hoping to see the same out of the Pirates this season.
It would take a perfect storm for the Pirates to win the
absolutely.
division.
Absolutely.
I do
That's-
love Paul Skeens. He's great. I just don't think there's any sort of offensive potential or high ceiling for their team, and that's why disagree.
It's crazy to me. They basically have the same odds as Tennessee to win the SEC in football this season, and I think that's kind of crazy that the Pirates are even this high.
I was shocked
Or-
when you said 8-1. I expected it to be lower.
Exactly. So
Maybe the odds makers know something I
I
don't.
mean, they finished last year. That'd be kind of crazy going last to first.
hey, the Commanders did it.
True.
It's set up a little better in the NFL for that to happen.
Yeah,
But
exactly. There's no parity, and there will be. So
all right, that's NL Central. We can roll into the NL West. I'll kick it off. I have the Dodgers.
wow.
Their over-unders at 103.5, which is like 10 higher than the next. They're already 2-0 on the season technically. Shout out the Tokyo series, which is so stupid. Off-season moves. They added a rookie from Japan. Great pitcher. They added Kirby Yates for the bullpen, assuming he can stay healthy and kind of find his Padres form.
Deferred his money to 2092.
Bruh, the deferring money stuff is so stupid. I hate it so much. I'm firmly in the I don't know, the pool, I guess. I would just be fine with a luxury tax at this point for baseball because this is just ridiculous. Their lineup currently is Otani, Betts, Freeman, Teoscar Hernandez, Max Muncy, Will Smith, Michael Conforto, Tommy Edman, Andy Pages. I mean, people up and down the lineup are going to rake. And then your rotation has Snell, Yamamoto, Sasaki, Tyler Glasnow, Dustin May. And then you have guys like Tony Gonsolin, Clayton Kershaw, like waiting in the wings to pitch when someone inevitably gets hurt. They got guys like Tanner Scott and Kirby Yates and Alex Vizia in the bullpen. Their team is so good, and it's because they literally can just spend $1 billion every offseason and then defer most of it, and it's like it doesn't even matter.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I mean, Diamondbacks have a good team. Getting Corbin Burns was huge. I could see them being a wild card team. Padres, I guess, could see being a wild card team. It's like the Padres can't decide if they want to be good or bad.
Yep.
Because they do stuff like they let Jerks and Profar go on realistically a deal that's not that expensive. It was like 3 years, $47 million or something.
Yeah,
like
not
that.
expensive for them.
I don't
that's
know
for
what
sure.
the deal. That was his second stint with the team in 3 years too. I don't know what the deal is for the Padres and Profar, but
I mean, the Padres they just kind of make all these lateral moves. They they add some, they subtract some, and they just always end up kind of in the same spot every year.
it's also I feel like I mean, they brought in Soto, and Soto did not play well. He was there for a year and a half, 2 years, and it just never worked out. He did not hit well. He was not his national
For his standards.
for his standards, yes. Which I kind of think people were kind of mad about that, which is why they let him go so easily.
Yeah, I mean they just probably weren't going to compete money wise. This kind of thing is I feel like they decided they wanted to spend, and then we're like, wait a second, I actually don't want to spend, and now
Well,
they're
they
just
went into
caught in this
debt.
weird place because they went out of which that makes zero sense how that happens.
You got to defer the money.
You got to defer the money, I guess. But yeah, I think this is the most clear division.
Yeah.
I got Dodgers. JP is about to throw out.
I think he's gonna pick the Dodgers. Can we bet? Okay, I think that he's been trolling because
You've been trolling. I know
have
that
been
because I
trolling.
saw yours.
I've been trolling all along about my hot take. I picked the Dodgers. We can get into that. It's for all the same reasons. They have the best team in the league, not the country. JP, did you pick the Dodgers?
Yeah, I picked the Dodgers.
Okay, good.
Their
It's
odds
too much integrity to not pick the Dodgers.
Their odds are -600, which for context, every game in the March Madness first round that had a 5 seed or higher, so like 5-12, 6-11, 7-10, 8-9, all of those picking the money line on the favorite are less likely than the Dodgers to win the NL West this season at -600. So we're talking just insane. I couldn't find the number on it, but I would imagine this is the largest favorite to win the division preseason ever. They're talking about it in-house that they want to be the best team ever.
Yeah.
According to ownership, they're going for wins this season. The record is 116.
They're not
Some-
going to hit it.
Some people project 120. Their big offseason move, among many, was Blake Snell. The adding another, also a former Padre, adding another Cy Young winner. They have 5 Cy Youngs and 6 MVPs on their roster, and that doesn't even talk about the guys that are also great in Yamamoto and Sasaki, the rookie they're bringing in. And then Tyler Glasnow is there. I mean, this team is absolutely insane. Like we said earlier, the only thing that's going to stop this team is cancer, most likely.
We are not wishing cancer on the Dodgers,
Yeah, definitely not.
but it is probably what it would take for them
But
not to win.
it's going to be an insane season. Obviously, makes sense that they've got Joe Davis there calling their play-by-play because he just loves the Dodgers and he's one of the worst play-by-play announcers in the world. So
Dude, he's gonna be the next guest on the show, and you just did him like that. That's crazy.
that's not. I hope not.
Joe Davis, you're still welcome on the show.
I don't want Joe Davis on the show.
What if we let you cook him for a couple of minutes?
I'm good.
Okay.
Just a roast.
Joe
session?
Davis, you're no longer welcome on the show.
That's tough.
We have to all agree to any guests.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I was saying earlier, you need 4,374 outs, assuming there's no extra innings in a season. And with their rotation, and it goes deeper than 5, because you still have Kershaw may not even be in the starting rotation with Ohtani, Yamamoto, Snell, Glasnow, and Sasaki. Kershaw, a multi-time Cy Young winner and MVP, may not even be in the starting rotation.
Just ridiculous, honestly.
It's just insane. It's one of those. It's just a team that you make when you're 8 years old and you turn off. Well, there's no salary cap in baseball, but
You turn forced trade on.
Yeah, you turn forced trade on, and you just build the greatest team ever. They may be this, but they're not winning the World Series. We all know that they're not good enough. Obviously.
When Dave Roberts is your manager,
Yeah, I mean, they got lucky to play the Yankees in the World Series. Otherwise, they don't win the title last year. Sanders, any additional thoughts?
I think they're gonna hit the 116 mark. Maybe that's a hot take.
Tie it or beat it?
I think they'll beat it.
I'm going to take the under. I think they
wonder
probably
what the
get around
odds are on that
110.
are.
I think this roster is insane.
Yeah, I just think we're in I know they're really deep, but I think we're in a world where injuries are more common than ever in baseball with how hard pitchers are throwing and stuff.
Yeah.
And we've already seen Mookie Betts is under weather. And I know they have guys to replace. And I know they say they want the win mark, but when we start getting to June and July and they're cruising through their division and they have a big lead and people start kind of taking wear and tear, get nicked up, I feel like they're probably going to take the pedal off the gas a little bit.
Their odds to break the wins record are plus 650, so 6.5 to 1.
To break it, to hit 117.
So better odds for them to break the wins record than the Pirates to win their division. So
They make you rethink your
and
choice.
better odds than Tennessee to win the SEC.
Are you on Tennessee to win the SEC? Are we getting a prediction right now?
I already have a future on that. I grabbed that very early on.
Okay.
All right.
Well, you heard it here first. Tennessee is winning the SEC in football in 2025.
Correct.
Do we want to pick? We still have three segments left for the show. Do we want to pick World Series winners right now? Do we want to?
What?
We can just do it real quick.
Yeah, I mean we don't
Alright.
sit on it.
I mean, I'm
It's
picking.
right before opening day. Might as well just
Yeah.
say it.
I'm picking the Dodgers.
Against?
Over who?
Oh,
Who's making it out of the AL?
Pick one.
Orioles. Dodgers. Orioles.
I am gonna take Braves.
Can I change my answer?
Sorry, you're locked in.
Freak.
You can change it.
Dodgers Yankees rematch.
Okay, and Dodgers win.
Dodgers over the Yankees.
And they win. Okay.
They sweep them easily.
3-1 comeback.
I'm gonna take the Braves over the Red Sox in the World Series.
It's not a bad take. I was thinking very similar, but I'm gonna go instead. I'm gonna go with the Braves. Braves over the Rangers.
Okay. Rangers get in as a wild card team that gets hot.
Yeah, I think.
Feels like we see one of those every year.
Yeah, we do see that one of those every single year for the most part.
See one of what?
A wild card team get hot.
Oh yeah.
Wreak havoc. That's all we have for division winners, unless any of y'all have anything to add.
Nope.
This episode will come out tomorrow morning, so on opening day. Hope
If you
y'all
listen
enjoy.
to it on 2x speed, you can finish it before first pitch.
There's no noon game for some reason, so you got plenty of time. Interesting scheduling there. But we can go ahead and roll into my cock of the walk, or my player of the week. And I went with Sarah Ashley Barker. Alabama women's basketball player, dropped 45 in the double overtime round of 32 loss to Maryland Terrapins.
Go Terps.
It was like the most points scored in a game since, I don't know why I didn't put this on the sheet, but it was like late 2000s. In a March Madness game, not in any game. She's she's a Tide legacy. She had relatives played football at Alabama. Just a cool story. You could see in the post game presser just all the emotion, how much she really cared. I wish she could have got the win, but not really, because that's my Maryland Terrapins now. So, it's personal. Good game from her, though. Shout out to Sarah Ashley Barker. And then my winner chicken dinner, or my team of the week. No one really stuck out, to be honest. I didn't really want to go with this team, but it's all I had. And it was Arkansas basketball. Only double-digit seed to make the Sweet 16. They knocked off Kansas in round 1, and then they beat Rick Pitino St. John's in round 2, the 2 seed. Good for Calipari. People were calling him washed. Low-key, I'm not still sure if he isn't washed, but kind of hard to say that when he's in the Sweet 16.
Yeah, I don't think you can say he's washed after going to the Sweet 16.
Team can carry.
I mean, that's what he's always done, though. It's like
Recently,
just
he's not
recruit-
performed in March.
Yeah.
So.
But now he has.
In my opinion, he at one point was at least a decent X's and O's coach. I don't think he's that anymore.
Yeah.
This is not about Calipari. It's about Arkansas basketball team. Good job to them. Boogie Flan came back, provided a spark. Abdou Thiero is going to be back for the Sweet 16, which is big for them. It was kind of funny. Calipari was on the Pat McAfee show and mentioned it, and Pat McAfee was pretty clear he didn't know who Abdou Thiero was.
Yeah, if there's one thing that show doesn't know, it's basketball. They know nothing.
They had LeBron on the show this morning.
I'm excited to watch that.
I'm 10 minutes in. I call it the LeBron versation.
Yeah.
So I've enjoyed it so far. They're a good time.
They're a great time. They know ball, football. They
Especially.
They don't know basketball very well, though.
That's all I got. I don't know if any of y'all have anything to say about those two people.
No, I think it is kind of. I mean, we talked about it a little bit on Monday's show, Sunday/Monday. Do we want to refer to them as the day we record or the day we release?
That's usually a topic that's highly debated among podcasts.
Well, we'll call it Sunday/Monday show for now. We talked about a little bit about how Arkansas had all the talent in the world all season, new head coach, bunch of new transfers, and it did not click. And we said that if it did click, they could win, they could compete for championship potentially, and they just got 2 big wins and are in the Sweet 16. So if it keeps clicking, Arkansas could be hard to stop.
They're in a very tough region of the bracket, in my opinion.
Got to go up against Maryland in the Elite Eight.
They got to go up against Texas Tech first.
Texas Tech. The shout out CT. The Red Raiders are going to be a tough matchup for Arkansas, and then you get the opportunity to play what people are saying is the best team in college basketball, or the Florida Gators.
Makes sense.
It's not easy because the Florida Gators are really good too. Arkansas could do it, but I think they'd much rather be in a spot where they get to play the school up north or Michigan State
or Michigan.
Yeah. Or even the Auburn Tigers than these 3 teams that are sitting here.
Yeah. We want to move on to the question of the week.
Yeah, we'll roll into our last segment. Sanders, you're the question of the week guy, so I'll let you pose it to us.
Yeah, so my question of the week, and this has kind of been prompted because it's March Madness, and so my question is, what is your favorite memory as in person as a fan? And it's prompted because mine comes from March Madness, so that's why I've been thinking about it a lot this year. So who do you want to? You want to start with me? I can go first.
We'll let you go first. It's your question.
Yeah.
I know you have a good one to share. It's a pretty cool moment.
Yeah. So there's a little bit of a story to it. That's why I love it so much. So I've been a women's basketball fan at Mississippi State since 2015. We've had season tickets since 2016. Went to most of the home games. Went down and got signatures from all the players after every game. We were very attached to them. And going into the 2016-2017 season, I asked my parents if we went to the Final Four, could we go? Because it was in Dallas that year. And my mom, because it was November, October, and it was Mississippi State women's basketball, she goes, yeah, sure, we'll go. And we get to the Elite Eight versus Baylor, a very good Baylor team with Kim Mulkey's head coach. They had a very good center, Kalani Brown, very, very good players, good team. And we win that game, and it might have been, it may have gone to overtime. I can't remember. Morgan Williams scored over 40 points in that game. And at the end of that game, my mom looks at me. She goes, Sanders, I don't have tickets. I don't have hotels. We cannot go to this game. It's like a 10, 12-hour drive. We have zero plans. My family's not a very spontaneous family to travel and trips. We're pretty big planners. And I said, that's okay. I mean, I kind of joked when I asked. Like, it was like a joke. It's all right. And she tells the story. She was lying in bed that night and just staring at the ceiling. And she looked at my dad. She said, I have to take him. Like, Mississippi State's in the Final Four. Like, that's crazy. I have to take this kid. She got a laptop out, and she was buying tickets. And she said, I'm just going to buy the first round because we're playing UConn, and we're not going to beat them, and I'm not going to spend the extra money. And my dad said, if you buy the Final Four ticket, not the championship game, and we win that game, you will regret it for the rest of your life. And my mom was like, fine, I'll buy the ticket. This is so stupid. I'm throwing money away because we're not going to win. And we won. We won, and I went prepared. This was a UConn team that was coming off of a 111-game win streak. They had won, I'm not positive, and I need to check so when I tell the story I can be positive, but at least 2 championships in a row.
If they'd won that many straight, it had to be at least 3.
It was at least. Can one of y'all check while I talk?
Yeah, it would be.
It would be 3.
I think it was more than that. I think it was 4.
Well,
I think they won 4 championships in a row.
Yeah, you might.
Which is, I
It'd
mean,
be at least
they'd won.
3.
they were on a roll
They were
regardless.
the most dominant team in the country. 111 straight games. We beat them off of a buzzer beater from Morgan Williams. And I run around the arena, and this is pretty cool. This is me with a sign that I brought. Can y'all? I sent it in the group chat.
I've seen it before. Yeah.
This is me with a sign. This has 100.
Young Sanders.
Very young. I was 15, 14, just turned 15. I ran around that whole arena. I took pictures with dozens of strangers who saw that and were like, "That is awesome! Let's go!" I took pictures with the band. I had the time of my life, and it was so cool. That is me, like right after it happened, braces and everything. I mean, it is like my favorite memory as a State fan, and I'm gonna get some flack for this. We don't have to. You want to get?
Let's not debate it, please.
Let's not debate it.
You're
talk
opening
about
yourself up for slander.
We're not gonna open it. We're not gonna talk about it right now. It's my favorite memories as a fan, as a State fan. I think it's one of the coolest moments in Mississippi State sports history. I think it's one of the coolest moments in sports history. That's, I guess, a hot take. I think that if you think about how incredible UConn was, we had lost to them by 60 in their home arena the year before. To turn around and come back and win that game the way we did was absolutely insane. So that is my favorite memory. I don't know that I will ever peak more than getting to watch that shot live. It was awesome.
I mean, it's pretty fire to be there. I can go next, I guess. So they threw out there too, and I was like, oh dang! Like I don't necessarily know if I have anything to compete with that in terms of height or weight of the game or like the stakes. So I'm just gonna go with. It doesn't make any sense why this is my favorite sports memory of all time in person. Tuesday night in Olson Field, we're playing. It was UT Arlington, so a Texas satellite campus, a Texas Longhorn satellite campus. That is, me and my dad get tickets from a couple friends. We go. It's probably a couple thousand people in the stands. Not very many people there. Game starts at 6:30. We're going. We reach the 9th inning. 0-0. It's like, all right, cool. That's like kind of crazy, but it is what it is. 9th inning rolls by, still 0-0. We go into extras. 10th inning. 0-0, 11th inning, 0-0, 12th inning, 0-0, 13th inning, 0-0, so on. 14th inning, 0-0, 15th inning, 0-0. We get to the 18th inning, it's 0-0 still. At this point, it's me, my dad in the stands, and a couple hundred other people. At this point, there are probably as many UT Arlington fans as there were Texas A&M fans. It's cold. It's a midweek against nobody in early March, late February probably. Me and my dad are going to the bathroom in between half innings to get some warmth. Because, it was cold when the game started, but now it's past midnight. It's really cold. They come up to the plate in the top of the 18th inning and score 5 runs. And we were like, that's brutal, like devastating. We wait this long, they score 5 runs. We end up getting 1 run in the bottom of the 18th inning on a balk, and we lose 5-1. But I don't know. It's just the memories I have of like just going to the game with my dad and getting to hang out with my dad for 6 hours watching baseball. Asa Lacy was a freshman that year, and he pitched 5 or 6 innings, and that's when I fell in love with Asa Lacy. Drafted 3rd overall by the Royals and did nothing, but he was great for A&M. It just kind of it's what sports all about, honestly. I mean, just getting to hang out with my dad, watch baseball. It didn't really matter in that moment if we won or lost, partially because the stakes of the game were so small. And we went and got tacos after at like 12:30 in the morning. I'm like a 12-year-old kid. Like that never happens.
Yeah.
It was a ton of fun. You can pull up the picture if you want, Sanders. This is not from that game. It's actually from a regional game against Cal where we won in extra innings because that man right there, Ronnie Gideon, dove. The runner was running down the third base line towards home, and he dives right before he gets to home and tags him on the butt for the final out
he the
for us
third
to
baseman?
advance. He was the third baseman.
That's crazy.
And so that's me and my sister after that game. But it's about the same age, and you can just see I spent a lot of time in that ballpark with a lot of good memories. But yeah, 18 innings for a 5-1 loss, and it was 0-0 through 17 innings.
That's insane.
And it was so much fun.
How many we don't have to get it. I'm just like
We threw, honestly, probably 4 or 5 pitchers.
through 18 innings?
Yeah. We
And-
maybe did more, but Asa Lacy didn't start the game, and he threw like 5 or 6 innings.
That's crazy.
Because we just were like, because everyone was pitching so well. It was a 0-0
Yeah.
game. Like, you just ran someone out there, and they were mowing people down.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it was a blast. Shout out my dad. Just out of nowhere on a Tuesday night, we watched 2 full baseball games basically over 6 hours. Good times.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
Very understandable selection, even if y'all did lose, and it doesn't, the stakes weren't as high. That is awesome.
I think about the game all the time for some reason. It stuck with me.
I went with the 2021 College World Series final series. I attended that with my sister back in 2021. I was touring this campus. I had committed to state, and I was touring the campus for orientation the day we played Texas in the game 2.
Mm-hmm.
We ended up beating Texas in game 2, and obviously being here in Starkville for that was really cool. I was at Dave's Dark Horse Tavern, so the place was going absolutely crazy.
That was the Ethan Small walking off the mound, just
Will Bednar.
Will Bednar. Thank you.
Yeah,
not Ethan
Will
Small.
Bednar.
Wrong pitcher.
Will
Yeah.
Bednar went crazy.
That was
run.
He gave him the horns down. We beat the Longhorns, and then we drive back from Starkville to Atlanta, and the whole time I'm convincing my dad to let me and my sister drive to Omaha to go to see this series, because this is only the second time since 2011 that we had made the final championship series.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, State at the time had 0 national championships in any sport ever. So why wouldn't I want to be there for this historic moment, potentially? So we made the drive. We went up there to...
How far from Atlanta to...
It was 14 hours. We drove 4 hours on a Thursday to get back to Atlanta, and then we did 6 hours that same day, spent the night at a hotel somewhere in Kentucky, I believe, and then we drove the rest of the 8 hours, or just outside of St. Louis is where we stayed. We drove the rest of the 8 hours to Omaha, and then got there about 45 minutes before the first pitch of Game 1. So big time drive. And then we go to Game 1. We score 1 run at the top of the first inning, and then we give up 7 in the bottom of the first inning to Vanderbilt. And we already knew that it was going to be a tall task to beat Vanderbilt. That was pretty brutal.
Sure.
The Whistler was still alive at the time, so he was whistling
dead?
the entire game. He has recently
When
passed
did he?
I did not realize
in the
that.
past.
I thought it was a joke. I thought it got debunked.
Maybe it had. Maybe I got senteled. But anyway, we play the second game, and we scored. We destroyed Vanderbilt. We won 13-2. 13 runs on 14 hits. We didn't hit a single home run. So just an impressive offensive performance. And then the final day, we get to face, it's Will Bednar, our best pitcher, versus Kumar Rocker, the best pitcher in all of college baseball. And I thought it was just going to be a straight-up slugfest. and it turns out it was for Vanderbilt. Bednar destroyed them. We gave up one hit the entire game. Bednar gave it up. He almost threw a no-hitter. We shut him out 9-0, and yeah, you can throw up that picture if you want now. Proof of me being there. There's us winning the championship, or at least
That's so
on the TD Ameritrade. And then there's another picture of the team winning the championship. Yeah.
Y'all had good. Is that like were y'all on the concourse or is that?
We had seats right there.
Wow,
That's
we
fire.
we spent a lot of money on those seats.
that is awesome.
It was just amazing. And as a State fan, I'm eternally grateful that I got to be there for our only national championship ever. So
That's
it was
crazy.
very, very special.
It's a big moment for sure. The year before 2020, I convinced myself the Aggies had a great team. And so for my 16th birthday, me and my dad got tickets to go to the College World Series that year. Obviously didn't happen because of COVID.
Yeah.
But man, what could have been, because that was AC Lacey's junior year.
Yep.
Best pitcher in college baseball, some would say, I would say. Braden Shoemake was on that team. We were ready to roll. Never happened.
Yeah.
But I remember watching the State games, even though I'm not a State fan. I'm, occasionally a State fan, and I don't like Vandy. So watched at a friend's house, and it was a ton of fun. And I did not expect that last game to be a 9-0 win.
That was insane.
It was.
Good stuff.
Hail State.
Do we want to talk?
Gig 'em.
I mean, no, that's not. That was a thumbs up of great
You-
job,
you
guys.
just gave a gig 'em,
Low key,
so.
I got like goosebumps from those. Like, I think all three stories, like, those were hype. Do we want to talk about what may be happening after this, just so people know what to? I'm thinking because I'm excited.
I mean, do we want to talk about it on a microphone or?
No. Just say what's gonna happen. Maybe.
We may or may not be doing a mock draft in an episode right after this, because Sanders Oakley is addicted to mock drafts and wants to do one.
We were also talking about it for like 15 minutes before we started, and then we're like, you know what? We should
Maybe
just,
4.
We should have recorded this.
We should have recorded. Not actually, but yeah. You may be getting an episode right after this one with a mock draft. We don't know.
TBD.
We'll see.
We'll see. Does anyone have anything to add, or can I close this out?
Yeah, close this out. Oh.
I do have something to add.
Okay.
Boy.
Go Terrapins.
Yes.
Beat the Gators. They play on Friday. That's going to be electric.
Yeah.
I cannot wait.
Very exciting.
And hopefully we'll be here Sunday watching them close out their run to the Final Four before we record.
I wish we had
For
that.
sure.
We were all here because we were recording that night to do our reaction, and we're watching it on our laptop. I wish we'd been recording because we were screaming. It was awesome.
That was electric.
The lows and highs of the 3 by Colorado State to the Derek Queen buzzer beater. Just
When he
nothing better.
hit that 3, I was like, so this is gonna be our first March Madness. This is gonna be Maryland losing. This is gonna be our only March Madness from opening weekend, and it's gonna be this.
Yeah,
And
this is not the madness we wanted.
Yeah.
But it's not what we got.
I also want to say it was a gather step, not a travel.
Literally.
And the hours after the shot, I thought it was a travel. Upon reviewing footage for a while, it was a gather step.
Yeah.
Legal play.
You heard it here first. We'll end with that. Thanks for tuning in, guys, and we'll see y'all next time.
Later.